And another interesting snippet he shared with me was that, which I didn't know, was that in space, he says, you cannot get an erection. And I was quite surprised. So, Aisha, so I'm not going to ask your thoughts about it, but it's something that I didn't know, and I'm sure you didn't know also. But he said, so it's going to be hard for men to procreate in space. So,
right. So the whole theory of, if the Earth explodes one day and we can sort of camp in space or something, that wouldn't work. Cause
it would work because it'll be test tube babies then, but there's not going to be any fun in the process of making babies anyway in space. So it was quite interesting. But submarine.
Well, at least we know our astronauts are not doing anything hanky-panky up there.
Yeah. They just focus on work. No, but the submarine is very interesting also because he believes that, one day, men will be living in space. He said because
another planet maybe.
Another planet, or even just in space, having, homes, platform or Earth stations right up in space. So pretty interesting. He really believes that's happening, and he said you just look at how the history of flight, has happened in the last, 40, 50 years. He said he totally believes in the next, 30 years with the advancement of technology, we will see, men, actually living in space. So it's pretty cool. He's a really good guy. I was glad I met up with him. Read the article. There's lots of good information there, new information that you didn't know about, and you'll come out from it having a higher regard, for Malaysia and its capacity, in creating a niche for itself, in the space technology. And the smart thing is, it's a niche, like I said, because they're building small satellites and they're launching these satellites in the equator, because he says that the developed nations are all not sitting along the equator, so they have no interest in launching a satellite and for it to be scanning what's going on in the equator, whereas tropical countries are very interested. In fact, and he said Malaysia is now seen as the leading emerging country in the satellite space technology. Okay. And he said the emerging nations don't want to work with the developed nations now also, because there's a sense that there's obviously a sense of arrogance, and also a sense that developed nations, if they work with you in satellite stuff, they're also using it as an opportunity to test some of their things, and they're learning while they're selling you stuff, they're also learning from the experience.
You mean like espionage?
Whether it's espionage or just testing some of their prototype technologies, right? And he says whether the developing world sees Malaysia as one of them too, which has moved up the value chain. So they're really eager to work with us and learn from our expertise. So anyway, with that, we've really talked a lot about this, but we're going to move on quickly, Aisha.
Okay, I thought it's over.
No, but want to read the article. It's a really great article. I was really happy and excited about doing it. Aisha, you were at some event
PwC,
yesterday?
they were talking about KPO, which is Knowledge Process Outsourcing, and it's supposed to be, some people say it's a higher end of BPO, but then I think PwC says that it is, it's almost like a sibling, it's different, it's the kind of work that they do is different for one thing, and the kind of industries or areas that they cover is different than BPO. BPO is more transactional, whereas they would go more deeper into insurance industry. They'll come up with, statistics and stuff for you to be able to come up with your plan, but actually, basically, they did this survey, and I asked the guy, Charles, out of this survey, because they had a lot of data in there. What was the thing that sort of surprised you, or what were the things that you expected? And he says that the thing that he expected was the trend of India and China is still capturing the KPO market, So that's. But then he said that what he didn't what surprised him was that. Everywhere KPO, it's pretty much available everywhere. Even countries like Costa Rica, he finds KPO. And it's pretty much all over. And it's like it's basically, and it feels like it's definitely a space that any country can play into, because now you're not playing on critical mass. You don't need 600 people to outsource. You could probably just have like 20 or 50 people doing research and analytical work. So it's something that he's basically seen it in a lot of countries, pretty much in places that he didn't expect KPO would exist. So that's the
crux of that. Did he identify which areas he sees Malaysia as having strong KPO? I think
there was I think he probably, because he's more they had the ED of PwC, Carmen, and she says that oil and gas and financial services, because we
Islamic financial
services. So but then because if it's KPO, so it would be more analytical work of not really
transactional.
So
all right, well, we look forward to the article coming up next week. I think we've got the wind-up sign ready, but just before we go, I was in where was I last week? I was in Barcelona, Spain, and we will talk about my experience at 3GSM and some of the highlights that came out. But just two things I'll leave you with is that mobile internet is huge, and the CEO of DG Malaysia, John Denelin was there also, and he spoke repeatedly about that. And also the second thing you need to know about Barcelona is pickpockets, man. These guys are everywhere. Watch out for your stuff, because one of the journalists was there from Malaysia. He had his he had this neck thing hanging, a money bag around his neck, a money pouch, and even that went missing, So obviously he also had his eyes distracted by the many senoritas there, I think, although I was focused on the conference, but we'll get to the essence of the conference next week. So with that, we come to the end of the show. I'd like to thank you for watching. Keep the comments coming in, and believe it or not, we do get them once in a while. We'll see you next week. Have a great and productive week ahead with technology.